Hey, this is Andrew Brown. In this video, we're going to take a look at setting up our own Fargate cluster. So in another video, we did ECS EC2. And so now I'm going to go ahead in the ECS folder and make a new folder here called Fargate. And we're going to borrow as much as we can just to save ourselves a lot of time from our code base here. And we're going to understand a clear difference between ECS and Fargate as their configurations are a little bit different. So I'm just going to close out some of these tabs here. And so what I want to do is I want to create a template file. So I'm actually just going to copy this one and this one. So we'll copy those and we'll paste them on in here. Wherever the paste is, here we go. Okay, and we'll go into our deploy file. I'm just going to call this EC2 Fargate. Or as AWS likes you to think that it's just Fargate as a service name. And so that looks fine, but we'll go into our template. And there's a few things that are different here. The first thing is that we aren't going to choose an instance type. We aren't going to set an AMI. So those are things that we definitely don't need to do. We still need our VPC and subnets, I believe. So I think that those are going to remain. And we still want to keep our configuration for exec when we want to do that later on. That's fine. For our security group, that looks okay. Yep, that's fine. So that is totally fine as well. We don't need an auto-scaling group because we are using Fargate and it automatically handles scaling. So we'll take out this section completely. And we don't need an instance, this instance profile or this. And so this is going to really simplify our cluster. So there's a lot less going on here. Just to be sure that this is correct, I'm going to go into our bootcamp from 2023 where we did a lot with containers, like a very complex use case. And I want to go and take a look at the cluster code here to see if there's anything else that is missing. Because this one is specifically for Fargate, and it sets up a load balancer and a bunch of other stuff, which is great. And so I'm just looking at here, and this is the only thing that I would change would be the capacity provider. So with what do you call it? ECS EC2, we had to create it after the fact because you can't just specify it like this, but this is going to say it's going to use the managed Fargate provider. There's another one for Fargate Spot, and the only difference is that when you use compute, it's going to use Spot compute, which is more cost effective. But I'm just going to stick with Spot here today. Okay. I'm going to go back to this example code that we have from another project. I'm just going to scroll through here, and everything else seems fine. The service group seems fine. So yeah, that's all good. Okay. So that is good, and we can go ahead and deploy that. So I'm just going to take a look here, and this all looks okay. So I'm going to just go into our Fargate directory, and I'm going to go ahead and run this file. So I don't have to chmod it because I literally copied it. And so we'll hit enter here. I'm going to make my way over to CloudFormation. So the setup for Fargate is a lot easier, but the trade-off is that every time we deploy and we make a mistake, it just takes longer because it has to launch up that compute every time. So we'll execute those changes and we'll wait for that cluster to create. It's generally really, really fast because there's not much that it's going to create here. All right, so we'll just wait a while here, okay? All right, there we go. So our Fargate basic cluster is in place. And so the next thing we'll need is a task definition file. And we actually already have one, but the issue with this one is that this one is configured for EC2. That's no good for us. So I'm going to go over to our task definitions. And if you have yet to do so, I'm going to go ahead and delete this. I forgot to do this in the cleanup in the last video. Not that it really costs anything, so it's not a big deal, but I'm just going to clean it up here because I want to use the same name. Okay, so we'll go ahead and just refresh here, and now it's gone. Excellent. And so what I want to do here is I want to change this over to Fargate, so that's going to be one thing. These are fine, but this really depends on Fargate's capacity settings. So we'll say Fargate pricing. And in here, it should tell us, in here, if we scroll on down, the combinations we can use. So if we're using 0.25, we can use 5 gigabytes, and that, or 0.5 gigabytes. And that is the smallest value here, okay? So that's the smallest we can do it. This will be changed over to AWS VPC. All right, and apparently I'm not set to busy, so I'm going to do that so I'm not disturbed. There we go. And so that is fine. Are our execution rules and basic task rules fine? Let's go take a look at what we had previously. So for that, it was in here. And this looks fine for pulling the image. And this all looks fine. So we don't have to change these. We can use the same ones as before. So that's really nice. And we'll look at our container. Since we're using AWS VPC, we are not going to set a host port. So it's just going to be that. That's going to be 4567. We want our logging. We have a log group called EC2 Basic. I'm going to create one called Fargate, just so that we have a bit of a difference here. I'm going to go down below here and create our log group. We could have also created that log group in our CloudFormation template. Why I didn't do that, I don't know. Probably should have. We'll go ahead and paste that in there. And so now we have our log group. And that looks good to me. So I think that's basically everything for the task definition. Then we have our actual serve file. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this. And we'll paste this in here. And I'm going to go and grab in our README deploying our container from this one. So we have it as a reference. And let's open up that service definition to see if there's anything interesting that we have to do here. Obviously, we're doing Fargate, so we'll change this to Fargate. And I don't think anything else has to be changed. I think that is pretty much sufficient. So we'll go ahead and deploy it. And hopefully this works the first time. It'd be really nice if it does. It says task definition not found. Okay. Oh, well, we didn't register it, did we? Right, so we changed our task definition, and I actually changed the wrong one by accident. So I'm going to just copy this and then paste it here. Copy. And paste again. Paste it here. I'll give this a hard refresh. It doesn't seem to be responding properly here today. Is my internet out? Yeah, my internet's hanging. Just give me a moment. I'm going to run inside and replug my internet in. All right, let's see if my internet's back. Okay. And so I don't have a task definition. Not a big deal. We'll go ahead and create that. So I'm going to... Oh, yeah, I was copying and pasting this file, wasn't I? So we'll go ahead and try to copy this again. Copy. Right-click, paste. There we go. I want to not lose my old one, so I'm going to go here and just discard those changes. Okay, and then we will go into this README here, and we have this one for creating a task definition. And we'll go into our README here. Okay, and I'm going to check to make sure this is configured how we want it to be configured. Yep, looks good to me. We'll go ahead and register that. Good. Now we'll go ahead and launch our service. Hopefully it works this time. Network configuration must be provided with network mode. So that's the thing that we're missing. I'm going to go over to here, and in here we have that setting somewhere. I think if I go into my week with Fargate and we go back a bit here and we go into our task definitions. No, not our task definitions, the actual service itself, which would be under JSON. I go to backend Flask. In here, I should have this network configuration option. So this is what I'm going to bring in. So we will copy this. And I will go ahead and paste that in. And I have a little bit of work that I'll have to configure here. So we have a security group and then the subnets. So we already created our security group. If we go over to here, it's this one right here. So that is a security group ID. So I can go ahead and grab that. And then we will paste that in here. And the other thing is these subnets. I don't know if we need 3, but I'm going to go ahead and try to do it with 2. As we did define this in our other one here, I believe, we have these 2 subnets. So I'm going to go ahead and grab those 2. Let's grab this as such. And I'm just going to go above here. And we will attempt this. There we go. And so hopefully that will fix our issue. Let's see what happens. Well, it is. It's right here. Network configuration must be provided when the network mode is AWS VPC. Oh, did I just put this in the wrong file? That's why. So we'll cut this out, sorry. We need to be in the serve file for that. There we go. And we'll paste this in here and put a comma on the end. Wait, hold on. No, yeah, that's where it goes. Yeah. See if that works. Nope. Okay, so hold on. Maybe I'm getting mixed up here. Let's go back to here. And this is the JSON file. Service name, task definition. Yeah, so this is supposed to be in our serve file, but our serve file is not set to Fargate. So I'll just change this to Fargate. Maybe that's our issue. And we'll hit enter. Still no luck. Invalid JSON. So there's something wrong with our JSON. Maybe it's just this trailing one here. There we go. Hit up. The reference cluster was inactive. Okay. Why does that matter? Because there's no cluster, like there's no compute behind it, so there's nothing for it to do, right? So let's go over to our cluster here. Oh, you know what? The cluster name is going to be different. That's the problem. Let's go back over to ECS here. And we will go into this one. And we'll grab this name here because it's actually different. There we go. We'll hit up. And so now it should be deploying our container. So go back to task here. We'll give this a refresh. Click into this. Refresh. There we go. And so now we're waiting for this task to provision. This does take a little bit of time. And as per usual, we have to keep on top of this to make sure that it is working. So we'll go to the service. We'll click into the service. And we're looking at events, right? Events and logs, okay? But already looks like it started up really fast, which I'm actually surprised because normally it takes a long time for this stuff to spin up. So maybe they've done something since the last time I used Fargate because it's crazy how fast it is. Fargate faster now. It was blog. Like, did something happen? Faster container startups, July 2023. So like when I did the boot camp, it was in May of 2023 and earlier. So clearly they've done something different. I cannot believe how fast that was. That is crazy fast. Well, anyway, let's go take a look and see if the service is ready. So apparently it's ready, but it's still provisioning. Oh no, there it is. It's running. So this one's a little bit different because it's not going to have a host name. So if we go to configuration networking, notice that we don't have those. I'm not sure where it was before, but when we looked at ECS EC2, we saw a bunch of stuff about, maybe it was at the cluster level. It was here and it was like infrastructure or networking. I don't know. But the point is that we don't have the access to the same thing as we did before, okay? So if we go over to our network configuration, we need some way to connect to this. And so the idea is that it will actually attach an IP address, and it says public IP address on. So clearly there is a public IP address, but where the heck is it? So it's somewhere here. Let's go to our task. Let's click into our task. Network binding. Ah, it's over here. Okay, great. So let's open this and we'll try it over here. We'll say API, hello, name, Andrew Brown. And there we go. So our Fargate container works. Excellent. What I want to do is I want to do a few other things with Fargate here. So I don't want to shut down the cluster right away. It's not going to cost us any money keeping the cluster around, but I do want to terminate this service. So we'll go ahead here and we'll just delete the service and just understand that when you are done with the cluster, you can tear down that CloudFormation template, right? And I might just forget to do that in cleanup, okay? So just understand that we're going to keep using Fargate cluster to test some other functionalities of ECS, okay? We'll see you in the next one. Ciao.